Morning, Bernie. Thank you for tuning into the Boerne Brew. This is Jeff Lynn. I'm the managing editor at the Boerne Star newspaper. We come to you every Saturday. Carrie Barboza or I bring some of the sports or news topics, talking to people that you want to hear from, people that need to be heard, people have messages to deliver. We've got a young lady here with us today, Amy Story from the BKCEDCED. That's right.
Alphabet soup, right?
Yeah, alphabet soup. Folks, what that means is she's the Boerne Kendall County Economic Development Corporation Executive Director. Is that correct?
President. There's only three of us, so yeah, I'll answer to anything.
She has the gavel. She pounds in the meeting. She's the president. Well, thanks for coming in, Amy.
Thank you for having me.
When you look around Boerne, we're growing.
Yes.
It's growth. When I talked to some people in Shirts and Cibolo back 10, 12 years ago, they said if you don't get in front of growth, it'll get in front of you.
I think that's very accurate.
Yeah, and they did. Shirts were ready for it. Cibolo wasn't. And they're paying for it now. And Boerne, we need to stay in front of growth. It's going to come. I know it's not your forte, but the Buc-ee's across the way is the hot topic right now. And it's growth, folks. So you have to contain it and work with it and be part of it. And Amy's gritting her teeth there. So that's the last mention of Buc-ee's today, unless you're going to Buc-ee's in Luling or New Braunfels or something. Okay, Amy, welcome in. Tell us about what you do.
Sure.
Talk about what the EDC does and how EDC is kind of it's not secretive, but when you're working with a client, you have to maintain that.
We respect our clients' confidentiality.
Right.
Yes.
And that's sometimes you're probably bristling inside like, oh, man, I've got this ready to go. I can't wait till we end this. What is it, Amy? I can't tell you.
Well, it's really funny that you say that because a lot of times I'll see on social media where social media accounts are reporting that something's coming, and we're probably one of the last places you'll hear it because we respect our project's confidentiality. For whatever reason they choose, whether it's they don't want a competitor to know that they're considering our community. Whatever the reason may be, we agree to respect that. But yeah, the EDC, I'll just shorten it. We don't have to say all the letters. The EDC, we exist to help bring new businesses to our community. Mm-hmm. We don't work with every business, but we work with a lot of them. We exist to help existing businesses grow and expand and identify any challenges that may make them want to leave our community. If they're having workforce challenges or issues getting expansions done, whatever the case may be, we help existing businesses. And then the third leg of that stool is we help entrepreneurs, and that's largely done through the launch of Das Greenhouse, which we were very involved with. And so that's really what handles the entrepreneurial aspect of what we do.
Have you ever been to the ICSC in Las Vegas? Have you ever been out to that thing?
I'm familiar with it. I have not attended it, though. But
Wow, enormous effort, people putting their hometowns, their business communities, their counties on display as every entrepreneur walks by and says, what do you got for me?
And ICSC, we don't attend that largely because the retail seems to come on its own.
Mm-hmm,
as rooftops grow in our community, retail comes along with that. And when you hit a certain population threshold, that opens up another level of retail that considers your community. A lot of them have internal thresholds that they won't consider a community until they're a certain size. Yeah, we have found that, as you're seeing in Boerne, there's lots of new retail cropping up, restaurants, shops, and I think we'll continue to see that.
As all the people flock out of San Antonio and out of Bexar County looking for the country life. People that got to Boerne 30 years ago found. But, it's coming this way.
Well, and it's interesting that you say that, the country life that existed. And I'll say I grew up in Plano, Texas. Mm-hmm. We moved there in 1972 when the population of Plano was less than Boerne. So, I've seen it. I didn't know any better because that's just where I grew up. And you look at Plano, Texas now, and you see the size and the businesses and everything that's there now. And it's pretty amazing. When my family was looking at moving to Boerne, I spoke to my brother-in-law who is in commercial real estate in San Antonio, and I said, what do you think about Boerne? We don't think we want to go to San Antonio. We want that small town charm, the homecoming parades, all of that. And he said, well, remember, I-10 runs through Boerne, right, which is a very valid point. When you've got an interstate that runs through your community, you're going to get types of businesses that locate on interstates there. Right. And I think Buc-ee's is probably an example of that one. So you referenced earlier, get in front of growth, try to manage it as best you can. And really that's at the core of what we do. Mm-hmm. Boerne is an attractive community. Kendall County is an attractive community, and I understand why people want to come here. That being said, with the population growth, it's really important to balance that business aspect of our economy as well. If all we have are residential homes in our community with very few businesses, guess who's paying for everything?
Right.
We, the property owners, are paying for every bit of it. So to have a balanced economy where we have a business community that contributes a large percentage to our bottom line as a tax-paying community is really important. I think that's something that people don't always think about. Who's paying for the things? And people in this community want parks and roads and lots of nice things, and all those have to be paid for. So
the city's going to begin its Northrop Park construction here shortly. They're going to be shutting it down, and sometime this week, next week, shut it down and stay away while we build and grow. And that $750,000 doesn't appear in the bank overnight. Well, it does when you get a grant or a loan.
That tends to help. But, it's really critical to what we do to recognize what makes our community special. Boerne really has to hold on to those things. We don't want to be just any suburb of San Antonio.
Right.
When we lose that, what makes us unique, then we're no different than a Schertz, a Cibolo, a Leon Springs, any of those communities. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but people come here for a reason. And I always say that Boerne is a community of choice. With 27% of our population who live and work here, very few people have to move to Boerne for their job. So people move to Boerne because they want to. And why do they want to? Because of all the things that we appreciate living here.
You mentioned the 27%. What are some facts and figures that people might be stifled by or surprised when they hear when the EDC deals with businesses? What are numbers you throw out to them? They go, the people in Boerne go, I did not know that.
One of the ones that I think is really interesting is, and this probably isn't a surprise, but Boerne really is a small business community. 94% of all the businesses here have fewer than 20 employees. So when you talk about businesses coming in, the vast majority of them are small businesses, mom and pops. And we work with projects of all sizes. I mean, we've worked with larger developments. We work with sole proprietors and everything in between. Our services are available to anybody who is looking for assistance and is considering our community. So I think that's important to note, that we're not just out there trying to bring in every big box store. That couldn't be farther from the truth.
Right.
We're looking for quality growth that will complement our community and will provide opportunities for our kids and grandkids to come back and live and work here as well. I think, speaking as a mom of 4 whose kids have all graduated from college now, I would love for 1, 2, 3, or 4 of them to be able to come back and live and work in Boerne and enjoy the way of growing up that they did. And so,
will they, or are they going to?
I have really exciting news. My oldest one, who's married and lived in Houston because that's where the job was, they are moving to San Antonio. So
yeah, it's right
closer,
down the road.
but they're still young. So yeah, that's my hope. But I think that's something that most residents could understand. We want to have job opportunities where you can make a living. I mean, Boerne is not an inexpensive place to live.
No kidding.
The average housing price is quite high. Cost of living, I mean, it's an expensive place. Even the dirt, when I work with projects that are looking at sites, they're surprised at how expensive the land is in Boerne. And it is what it is. It's what the market will bear. But
I'll play the flip side is, if it wasn't that expensive, everybody would want to grow there. Not everybody is Boerne.
That's true. People choose Boerne. I think the quality of life is a big reason why they do. We found post-COVID that the businesses that were able to evaluate, hey, where are we located and where would we like to be located? Where can we attract quality employees? I mean, we have a very educated workforce here. A lot of people going outside of our community for employment, so that's definitely a positive for us. But our quality of life is a strong driver for companies that consider us, even if we are more expensive, to bring their business here.
Folks, the voice you're hearing, and that's not mine, that's much more attractive voice than mine. And like Boerne says, I've got that face for radio. Is Amy Story. She's the president of the Economic Development Corporation, the Boerne, Kendall County EDC. We're talking about what she brings to the table, how they interact with the community. On the website, it talks about we're actively recruiting the following targets for Boerne, Kendall County. These are cool: bioscience and pharmaceutical manufacturing, advanced technology and construction products, agriculture, tech, design and building services, wineries, distilleries, and breweries. Thank you.
We're doing well on that one.
Yeah, and small to medium-sized corporate headquarters. So how do you present Boerne to a biotech company, or how do you present Boerne to a company or area or avenue of growth that really isn't here, that hasn't found its footing in Boerne? But man, if it could, can you imagine the bioscience and cyber science and stuff?
I can.
I have. That's why it's on there.
And I'll say these are not businesses that we just picked out of a hat or thought, hey, these sound great to us. These categories were identified in our strategic plan, and we worked with the University of Texas on that. And they had resources and data that were available to them to really show us the areas where we're competitive. And these are areas that, for a number of reasons, they believe that we're an attractive market for. With the Health Science Center just down the road, there's a lot of people that work in that space here in our community. One of the folks that I learned lived just up the road from me was the director of commercialization at UT Health. And so what he did was work with companies that were starting up and help getting them to the point where they're ready to be commercialized. He lives in Boerne, Texas. So that's just an example of the people that are in this community. But those are target industries that we proactively seek to attract. We'll work with any company within reason. We have limited resources. We're a staff of 2 full-time and 1 part-time, so we have limited resources. We're a public-private partnership. We're not sales tax funded. So our budget is a fraction of what most budgets are for economic development organizations. And that's not a complaint. That's just who we are. So we have to be judicious in our resource usage to make sure that we're maximizing it effectively.
2 big words that probably not dominate but shine a light on your year is economic summit.
We're excited about that.
Look at that smile. As I told you, 2 words, economic summit, big smile.
Yeah,
Talk about that, Amy.
This will be next Thursday. It'll be held at the Bevy Hotel at 8:30 in the morning until about 11:30, I think, is when it ends. We have partnered with the San Antonio Business Journal for the last 3 years to put this on, and it's a great event. It's been sold out the past 2 years. I think we have a few tickets left, so if you haven't gotten one, I think you can still get one. The Business Journal reached out to us because they said they get so much engagement when they put any stories out about Boerne or Kendall County and what's happening here. The readers want to know what's going on here, and so they approached us about putting on this summit and really kind of let us drive what do we want to show about our community, what do we want to talk about, and what do people want to hear. So we've had, the past 2 years, we've done 2 panel discussions. Last year we had a keynote speaker with one of the TxDOT directors that came and addressed the group, but we've got 2 strong panels this year, and it's just a great opportunity to show what differentiates our community within the San Antonio region. I work with the San Antonio Regional Partners, which is a collective group of all the communities that are contiguous to Bexar County, and we're all very different. I mean, you mentioned Schertz, Seguin, Castroville, Medina County, Lytle, I mean, all of these communities that are within our San Antonio region. And we took the approach that we're stronger together, marketing the region as a whole and saying, hey, Boerne might be a fit for this business. San Antonio might be a fit for this business, but it was more effective for us to do it that way. So this summit gives us the opportunity to really show, hey, this is what Boerne is like. Ben Thatcher, the city manager, will be one of the speakers there who's going to talk about the city's master plan and how we're complying with that and making sure that all of our actions are in line with that. So it's going to be a great event, and I would encourage anybody that's got any interest in what's going on from an economic standpoint to come hear more.
Thursday, 8:30 to 11 at the Bevy. If there's 18 tickets left, how do people get one of those 18?
Go to the Business Journal's website. They're selling the tickets through their website directly. The San Antonio Business Journal will have a link where you can buy the tickets. And then they're also, if you look at our social media, you can get to it that way as well.
Okay. More locally, something that you are involved in. Talk about the Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. What's that doing for people? Oh, by the way, folks, the voice that's not mine is Amy Story. Amy's going to tell us about the Economic Development Corporation's Entrepreneurial Spotlight Series. Success stories in Boerne, success stories in Kendall County.
So as part of our strategic plan, they talked about what an entrepreneurial community we have. So one of the smaller initiatives that we did was, hey, let's focus on these businesses that are here that maybe people don't know about. Small mom and pops, unique goods and services, just anything that was started here. And we kind of developed this theme of why Kendall County. So we reach out to people all the time asking if they'll do these. These are kind of quick and easy. Our team does it. We film it on an iPhone. I mean, it's nothing fancy, but it gives them an opportunity to tell our followers about, hey, this is what we do. This is why we picked Kendall County for our business. And so we're always looking for local businesses to feature. Entrepreneurs are very important. So we want to spotlight those companies and give them the best opportunity to grow here.
You mean business owners in Boerne and Kendall County can get the word out about their business for free?
For free, yes.
Did you guys, did anybody hear that?
The price is right.
Did everybody hear that? If you want to get your message out to people that aren't your regular customers, the Entrepreneurial Series is what you want to do.
Absolutely. Reach out to us. Yeah, reach out to us at the EDC, and we are thrilled. We can make it very easy and painless, I promise. But again, just being able to feature the diversity of businesses that we have here is something that we're happy to do.
For those who don't know or don't understand what an EDC is, can you explain that a little bit for us, Amy?
So we're the Economic Development Corporation, and as I mentioned, our goal is to bring new businesses here, support existing businesses, as well as entrepreneurs. EDO, or Economic Development Organization, is sort of the larger title, and most communities have a sales tax funded organization. A few like us do not. So they're all structured a little bit differently. This is the model that works in our community. So really anything related to bringing business here, to further developing our local economy and making it more diverse and robust, that kind of falls under our wheelhouse. A lot of people confuse us with the chamber, and I work with Kim at the chamber frequently. She's amazing at what she does. But Kim's role and the chamber's role is more, once you're a business here, how do we help and support your business? You know, their educate, advocate, connect is their mantra. And so once a business is here, we always encourage them to join the chamber. A lot of times people don't understand the difference, and businesses will frequently go to the chamber and say, hey, I've got this idea, or I'm looking here, and she'll send them over to us. So our paths overlap a bit, but we do play different roles in the community.
And you've got your economic summit coming up. Tell us about some of the speakers. Tell us what you hope people walk out, take with them.
I mean, my hope is that we showcase a realistic view of what our community has to offer. We are not for every business. I mean, that is absolutely the case. And I always say what's considered a win in another community in our region. I mean, what's a win for Seguin is not necessarily a win for Boerne. And so letting folks within the region know, hey, this is what we want to see. This is how our process works. These are the resources that we have to support. I hope that they'll get a realistic view of the strengths that our community offers, but, understanding that we're not necessarily for everybody. One of the panels is going to talk about small businesses. Kim will be on that panel. We've got some small business owners. We have Samantha Morganroth with Das Greenhouse, who I know you've spoken with her. Samantha's doing tremendous work in the community with Das Greenhouse. So we have a lot of tools that are available to help small businesses grow here. So that's what I hope they take away. And again, I think it's going to be a great event. The speakers will all be really informative. So
tell me what it's like when here comes Flinn Manufacturing, or Flynn's 24-hour bar, restaurant, and laundromat, and he comes in and you approach him, he approaches you, you get together, things are working. How long does it usually take before we're going to see that? And when it does, how long does it take you to go, yes?
So a couple questions there. We count an active project, and I'm using that in air quotes, as a company that has said we are considering Kendall County for our location, and we will make a decision between 18 and 24 months. When we count a project as located, they've made the decision, they have signed the lease, they have purchased the property, they have done something to solidify that commitment to having their business here. So that's kind of how we count it as a located project. And projects come to us in so many different stages. I will say a lot of times in years past, we would get somebody that would show up and say, hey, I want to do something in Boerne, I don't know what. We're not really equipped to handle that,
right,
which is why Das Greenhouse has been so amazing. If you've got an idea, pursue it there. Once you're through with Das Greenhouse, I mean, the EDC is here to help you make your permanent location here in Kendall County. We get some businesses that will come and they say, okay, I want to look for a building of a certain size, or I need property and I want to build something. I mean, whatever stage that the project comes to us, we will work with them at that stage. So sometimes it's helping with site selection. Sometimes it's helping with, they're trying to build something and they need help getting through the city or county's processes. And we can serve as kind of a liaison through that. I want to open a business, but I need a marketing firm. I need somebody to help me with these particular services. So really, we're kind of a jack of all trades and just really meet them wherever they are and help them. So some will locate sooner. There are others that we have worked with for literally years. Some are longer, and obviously the smaller businesses seem to be a little shorter timeline. Some of the larger ones, we've worked with a number of people who have wanted to develop property and build office space, things like that. I've seen a lot of that lately, and that takes a little longer to get through, whether it's platting, permitting, all of the things before they're up and open.
Now, once Flynn's fast food bar laundromat is
and winery
that's on the second floor.
Okay.
Is located. You marked located.
Yes.
It's not like, okay, Flynn, see you later. Bye. What goes on once somebody locates for you as far as the EDC? What goes on?
Our hope is always to stay in touch with those projects. I mean, one example, we worked with Don at 28 Songs to get that brewery open, and we have had ongoing conversations with him. I mean, we're rooting for our projects. The last thing we want is for a company to come here, choose Boerne, and it not be a fit. So we stay in touch with our projects. One of the aspects, we talk about business retention as a key pillar of what we do. Believe it or not, most new jobs come from existing businesses, not necessarily new companies, but existing businesses that are growing and expanding. So it's harder than you think. We reach out to businesses and offer to sit down and meet with them and identify either pain points that they're having, expansion opportunities that might exist. That's part of what we do, is schedule these business visits to just check in with the companies that are already here.
Amy, you have 4 children. I'm not going to make you pick your favorite one.
Oh, well, no, the ones that are living in San Antonio. I mean, that's easy. Sorry, other kids.
Baron, does this radio go all the way to Houston? No, I'm just kidding. Just as I wouldn't ask you to pick your favorite EDC success stories, but if you have 2 or 3 EDC success stories, somebody says, well, what have you done, Amy? You say, blank, blank, blank. What are some examples of things that have come that you worked your butt off to get them here, or they fell in your lap and you never expected them here, that kind of thing?
There's a couple. Near and dear to me are always going to be the smaller projects. So I just love getting to know the owners and working with them one-on-one, and bigger is not better necessarily in Boerne. Probably the biggest project and the one that took the most effort to get it here happened during COVID, and it was out in Comfort. It was O.W. Lee. They have the huge building out in Comfort, 400,000 square feet, and getting them to relocate from California during COVID. Additionally, they applied for state incentives, so there was a lot of work that went into that one, but that was probably the biggest one since I've been in this role that we've been involved with. A fun one recently, and one that I'm really excited about, is Honda of Boerne. We worked with them. I hope they'll agree. A pretty good process getting to the building phase, but I think they're going to be tremendous community partners. They've already plugged into a number of ways in our community. Right now, they've actually got a matching donation program for flood relief victims. So, getting them located and up and building has been one that's been very gratifying. I think, like I said, they're going to be a great addition to our business community. But I mentioned Don at 28 Songs. That was a fun one, and we just love hearing about his success because I think he's just really a great addition to that brewery community.
And I think the all-time pairing is Wild Birds Unlimited going right next door. It's like you couldn't have predicted or projected a better.
No, that was not on the bingo card, but I hear they're doing really well too. So,
Amy, as far as looking forward, I mean, when you drive around town, all of a sudden you'll see construction over there. You'll see the Chase Bank. You see the hospital complex that's going in across from Whataburger. You see Frost Bank. The apartments just went up. We are growing. And when you're driving around, is your head on a swivel? Or you are
It is. And I think a lot of times people think that I know every single business that's coming here, and I don't. So sometimes even I'm surprised. But yeah, there's a lot of activity going on. The hospital in particular is going to be very exciting. I always joke that I think there are 2 things that most of the community would be excited about. One is having a full-service hospital. The other one is having a Chick-fil-A. So we're halfway there. So anyway, it's exciting to see that. And that is not in the city limits, by the way. So
really,
a lot of people don't realize that.
Well, it's still in your wheelhouse.
It is. It's Kendall. We're all things Kendall County.
BKC, Kendall County, right there.
And we're doing a lot of work in Comfort too. That's another thing that has really been bumped up on our priority list, is working with the businesses in Comfort to ensure that community is successful.
Well, you mentioned 90, 94. What's percentage of
94%
of businesses in Boerne are
under 20 employees?
Wow, under 20. That's amazing.
We're a small business community, no question.
When you drive up and down the Hill Country Mile, that's exactly what you want.
Yes, absolutely.
Those businesses are what you want on that main street.
That's what drives people to visit this community, stay in hotels, spend money, eat. That's where people are coming. And Larry Woods and his team at Visit Boerne do a tremendous job.
Well, you mentioned you like to go visit those small businesses. You just go door to door, right down Main Street, hop across the street, and go down the other side.
Our team did that in Comfort, actually, to make sure that they were aware of our entrepreneurial spotlight videos and business retention program. Knocking on doors. We brought some treats and a flyer about what we do, but yeah, we can knock on doors.
We're going to go back to the entrepreneurial. That's a
hard
horrible
to say,
word.
And I have to say it a lot, so I stumble over it
the
frequently.
Boost Boerne Business Spotlight Special. You got a business in town. Here we go. Talk, Amy, about who you would like to speak with, who is applicable to be an entrepreneurial business spotlight person.
Really, anyone who's here starting a business. We don't have any parameters. We've had spice companies, we've had private eyes, we've had, everything in between. Yeah. And we post them on our website and we share them on our social media channels. Okay. But really, the more diverse, the better, in our opinion, because there are a lot of really cool goods and services that are being done here in Boerne.
Is it a minute or two? Do you record for 20 and boil it down to 30 seconds?
No. This would be like a marathon compared to what we do. It's tell us about your business. How can we find you? And why did you pick Kendall County? It's really as simple as that.
Speaking of how we can find you, where do people find you, Amy?
You can find us on our website, www.bkcedc.com. Or you can reach out to us directly. We are in the GVTC building off of Main Street, basically across from Snowflake Donuts. stop in, say hello. Our website has a lot of data on it, really helpful information. So if you're thinking about starting a business or have a business that's considering here, start with our website, but reach out to us directly. We're happy to talk to anybody who's interested.
Do you have a waiting list for the entrepreneurial series? You should.
No, we don't. And Natalie in our office proactively goes out and says, hey, we do this. It's free. Come do it.
If you'd like to have your business put in the spotlight where people that aren't your regular customers are going to see you and find out about you, you need to contact Amy and Natalie at the bkcedc.com website. Economic development. That's what it's about, folks. That's what we had about talking today. Thank you, Amy, for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you.
Yeah, no problem. We talked a couple months, years, I don't know what it was. Stephen Wright says, hey, 3 weeks ago that was 4 years ago. We had the Das Greenhouse. We had Morgan had her in on.
So happy you spoke with her.
Yeah, that was great. And I said, as a follow-up to that, we have to get the EDC in. So I'm glad we talked about that. So, folks, if you have any questions, get a hold of them. They can explain everything to you, and they can put you out there on social media, your business, free of charge. Did you hear that? Free. Thank you very much, Boerne, for having us here, Boerne Radio. We work with Boerne Radio every week to get our message out. Thank you for coming in, Amy.
Thank you,
folks, thank you for listening. God bless. Have a great weekend. Kids are back in school, thank God. Labor Day is right around the corner, and don't forget the Kendall County Fair is coming up next weekend, folks. Thank you very much. Have a busy, great weekend. God bless. Bye-bye.